We're not overly entertaining enough to be
Stop being an asshole.
top tier. What?
I said, hey, Nick, stop being an asshole.
Oh,
I'm going to need 3 more promotions.
yeah.
I think you might be the.
God.
You're so smart. You must have been in World War One.
Yeah.
God, that's so.
You might be like
The one line is that movie.
the least intimidating security guard I've ever came across.
All right.
Just
All you
rank
have to
us
do-
1 to 3.
But you
1
just
through
have
3.
to just have to walk at a brisk pace, and Nick will twist his knee. So
I mean, if you walk in a brisk pace in my building, I just assume you can walk.
Welcome everyone to this new episode of Drunken Jurors. We have Andy back with us because we're finally hitting part 2 after our putting out a random episode last segment because we couldn't all get together to fucking record.
it's all Nick's fault.
I agree.
Excuse me?
Wild, but all right. The accusations already being thrown around. But yeah, we're going to cover Larry Nassar. We're going to actually cover Larry Nassar in this one and his victims and then his trial. Because
What are we going to cover him
we
with?
just hopefully dirt and a lot of it.
Oh, I was hoping petroleum jelly.
That's
Tar?
Gross.
Maybe a thin layer of feathers.
wild. I don't know where to go from here. I wasn't prepared for this. You're not on script. But yeah,
Hold on, you guys got a script.
you guys are getting paid. So yeah, I mean, because first episode we just shit on USA Gymnastics and how fucking horrible it was the entire time, and we're gonna continue to do that today because it never goes away through this entire story of Larry Nassar. But yeah, I'm Jeff,
I'm Adam.
I'm Nick.
and of course, Andy, plug away.
Hello, I'm back.
Please try to make it under 10 minutes this time.
Yeah.
I had to cut out so much of the last one.
Fuck you. I'm gonna go for 11 minutes this time. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm
God.
back.
Be prepared for it all to be cut out. I'm just gonna delete your audio track.
Everybody knows who I am at this point, or you should. Woke up this morning at 9, questioning why I got up so early.
I would like to point out to everyone that Andy is the one that came up with this time.
I
for
did
us
come
to
up with
record.
this time. I'm fucking with you.
Oh,
No, I'm
great.
happy to be here, host of the Brew Party. Everybody knows me at this point. We're back. Football season just had Maloney's money line last night. Our first round of NFL picks are out. We have NFL prop bets for the whole season. My buddy Ryan Maloney is back. Our degenerate gambling is on. Find the Brew Party wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/The Brew Party. We are on Facebook at The Brew Party Podcast. We are on Twitter and Instagram at The Brew Party. If you like laughing, having a good time, drinking, not taking yourself too seriously, while also talking about sports and other fun stuff, The Brew Party is for you. So yeah, there you go, Jeff.
Yay. Now I'm
Also,
gonna have to fill up time.
Drunken Jurors, you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning, boys.
Truth.
That's
That's why we started. But yeah, you think you're gonna win this week? You
No.
think you're gonna win the bets? No? Okay. How much are you gonna be out if you don't win?
I got my dick kicked in last night, actually. Like, it was so bad. I didn't win a bet yesterday. That was really bad. So we're looking for a rebound.
You're gonna have to find a new place to live after this week if you
No, Kalen can pay the bills. I'll just be
His
the trophy
his
husband.
kid's gonna have to start working.
Yeah,
And next time we record with Andy, he's going to be recording with fucking pair of Apple headphones.
would be in like a box on the side of the road. Just your cars whizzing by the whole time.
stealing electricity from the local strip mall.
All right. Well, I am drinking this Windsor Canadian whiskey, and I have some Samuel Adams Oktoberfest, and I just finished my coffee. So,
Was it Irish?
of course,
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I am drinking Busch Light because it is all I had in my fridge, and
that's really, I mean, honestly, as long as you just have beer in your fridge, I think we're good.
well, I have some Michelob
Nice.
Ultra in there too, but I'm going with the lattes to start the day.
Got to keep a low calorie count out here.
Mhm.
I am.
You guys are also
Okay,
still on this
all
podcast.
right, yeah.
So
We ever done this before?
The 10 a.m. energy is. Last time we
Normally-
did this, we did it at 12 or at noon on a Sunday. So 2 hours
Normally I
earlier
go
really
first,
fucks everything.
But I was waiting for Nick to go first.
So I got myself a lovely tin cup 10-year. Very good, very smooth. Cheers.
Nice.
No.
I am drinking good old quality H2O because I have to go to work after we record.
Nerd.
Out here drinking dihydrogen monoxide.
Why are you so lame?
Nerd. Yeah,
God
that was
damn
even
it.
nerdier than what Adam said.
I give up. Why do I show up to these damn things?
Now, Nick, you have to explain what that was in
What
English
dihydrogen
terms.
monoxide is? It's water.
Why are you making H2O more difficult?
He's a nerd. I think we're going over that right now. We're
Okay.
literally talking about that. Well, I can't wait for everyone to have to fucking click off this episode when
Yep.
Nick does most of the talking because Nick is the one that went over the victims.
So since nobody's listening anymore,
let's just segue to a different podcast.
Thanks for having us on the Brew Party, Andy.
Yeah.
We'll send you the audio files
No,
with
yeah.
all this beginning stuff kicked out. Nice. All right. So yeah, I'm just gonna do the disclaimer now because
This sucks.
Yeah, this sucks. There is going to be a lot of talk of sexual abuse. So just disclaimer to
children?
anyone. Yeah, of children nonetheless.
Yeah. So
Sexual abuse bad in any form of anyone.
yeah, don't do
So-
it.
Wild.
thanks.
Okay, so sources. I just rewatched Athlete A because my book didn't go into really any of the victims as much as it went into USA Gymnastics. So that book was for part 1. You can go back and get that source on part 1. But yeah, so mine's just Athlete A for this, and then some little bit of online research. Cool. So guys, we have a way we do this. Someone else go on topics.
I
or,
watched
your
Athlete
sources.
Day. I watched Athlete
yeah,
Day.
I also watched Athlete Day.
Honestly, you could get everything you're about to hear in this podcast from Athlete A,
Yes,
but
it
don't do that. Listen to this
Well,
podcast.
it's
Well,
more fun.
entertaining,
Yeah, I read, and by read I mean listen because I can't read. What is a Girl Worth by Rachel Den Hollander.
Did you like it?
It was a good book. It was depressing as shit, but yeah, it was a good book.
I didn't like how Andy said that either.
Was it a good book?
Was it?
Welcome to the Drunken Jurors book club.
Did you like it?
Yeah. Honestly, if you think about Drunken Jurors, this
Hey,
all is
baby
just
girl,
a
did you like
fucking-
that book?
This is all just a fucking
Damn.
giant book club for us because we all just listen to books and then basically give info on them.
Listen to books.
Our next podcast will end up being just a book club. Once a month,
Yeah.
we all listen.
You like
Reread.
listening to books? I just imagine Jeff just holding the book up to his ear, just like, let me hear you.
Here's the thing: we all have Audible.
I go up to my fiance. Can you read this?
Yeah. This whole time he's been illiterate.
There's a
She'll
reason
have
I
to do
fucking read
everything
comic
else.
books. The
Kristen
pictures make it
reads
easier to understand.
Graphic
Kristen
novels.
reads the Kristen reads the Iliad and the Odyssey to Jeff before bed every night.
What a wild book to choose, but all right.
Right.
Yeah, it's a thick one.
She
They've been
reads-
working on that since the
she
beginning of their
reads-
relationship.
So yeah, Larry Nassar being the volunteer Olympic personal or physical trainer, sexually abused over, I think in Athlete A they said it was like over like almost 500 women or something.
Mhm.
It's a wild amount. Stupidly
You say
high.
women; they were all underage.
No, I think some of them were at the collegiate level. So like
Okay.
over 8, because he did do a lot of, out of the people at his sentencing, only 9 Olympians spoke. So I'm assuming that a lot of them were also like at Michigan State. So yeah, we're gonna let Nick kind of carry us from here so we can all interject from there. But Nick, you have the basis outline for this until we get to the trial.
All right. So, like I said, I read Rachel Dollander's book.
We did that part already.
Yeah.
So remember when you said Nick can carry us? Because Nick can barely carry himself.
Oh, don't worry,
Fucking
we're going to be the training wheels walking him through this.
Nick-
So she when she was 16, I think.
Rachel Den Hollander is the one that wasn't. An
Yeah,
Olympian,
she was
right?
just
she
like-
was.
Yeah, she wasn't
She
an
didn't start
Olympian.
till she was 12 or something because her parents
Yeah,
couldn't
She
afford
did
it.
it for the love of the
Yeah.
game.
So she broke her wrist, if I remember correctly.
Had lower back injury.
Yeah, lower back injury, and then like she also fucked up her ankle too.
Mhm.
She had a bunch of injuries because, like Jeff said, she started way later. Like most kids, when did most kids start?
Like
with
4?
Like
gymnastics?
late, yeah, not late. I mean,
Like
early.
super
Like,
early,
can
and so
barely talk.
like so she started super late. So she had these injuries, and like a lot of the doctors she went to basically said fucking ice it, and that had not helped at all. It turned out she had like a nerve injury somewhere, like essentially like a really small pinched nerve. And then they got a reference for or a referral to go to Larry, and she was super excited. This is the Olympic doctor, he's gonna fix everything. So her and her mom go in, and they talk to Larry. Larry's like, here's the problems. He's right about the problems, what the issues are. He fixes them. I don't think he assaulted her on the first visit. He went in, he helped her, and they loved him. He was great. He was very personable. The mom never left the room. It was fantastic.
Yeah, a big thing about Larry is like he was super nice and good with
Mhm.
kids. Like he was
His bedside manner
As
was
predators like
phenomenal.
to.
Yes.
someone who works with kids should probably be good with kids.
Because he knew
Yeah.
knew exactly what environment they were in. Every other adult they were around was yelling at him, and I mean, not telling them
Yeah.
how big a piece of shit they were, but they were being
And
assholes.
kinda in like a way.
A little bit, yes. They were
Huge body shaming.
hard
really.
on him, and whatever those what were the coaches' names again?
Carolis.
Yeah, the Carolis. were assholes.
Martha and Bella.
I mean, Larry Nassar normally was the nicest adult that these girls
Mhm.
were around, or he portrayed himself to be like that because he knew it was way easier to make them vulnerable and way easier to fucking diddle them.
I mean,
Gotta-
he literally.
Gotta love being fucking trained by former Soviets.
People said that he was literally the only nice person on the ranch.
He would sneak
This
snacks
is
and
not
shit.
shocking. It was ran by Soviets.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's weird because in Athlete A, the scenes that they show of Bella, he's actually like he's hard, but he's not like any different than any other coach. He's not like straight up super fucking rude.
Yeah, he's
But
so
I guess
hard.
also because he's not charged with anything or in prison, probably like they probably can't just slander him by showing all that shit.
Mhm.
Also, I mean, he knows when he's on camera. Like they show just sections of him at like the Olympic meets and like the trials and stuff. So it's him in front of people being nicer than he probably was
Mhm.
on the ranch where he didn't allow parents to be. Parents were not allowed. Certain coaches were only allowed in. And obviously Larry Nassar being like one of the only doctors allowed on.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
So after that, she had more issues. It's chronic back injury, so obviously she's gonna go have it be retreated.
Mhm.
At this point, now for the not fun stuff. It's awful. I hate it, and I hate talking about it. But here we go. She goes in again, and like her mom's still in the room, and then Larry positions himself between Rachel and her mom. He then starts giving her like a massage, essentially, which I mean, athletes find that's normal, but still a massage. And then he starts like massaging her butt. And then he goes into her shorts and does actually at this point it's not, because it never was. We'll get there.
Mhm.
But what Rachel assumed was a internal pelvic alignment through the vagina. And this happens several times. On the final, and at one point, one of her friends goes in because she has a similar injury to Rachel. And on the car ride back, her friend asks, "Hey, what happened? Like, is this normal? And Rachel goes, I mean, it's weird, it's uncomfortable, but yes, he's done that to me. And then they never discuss it ever again. And then on her final treatment, does the same thing, but this time again with him between her mom and Rachel, he starts fondling her breasts. And Rachel looks up and she also feels something hard poking her in the back. And she sees that he is breathing heavily and his face is red. He's getting off to it. And then he stops the thing. I don't remember if he did an internal alignment, quote unquote, internal alignment on that visit, but this is their last visit, and then she doesn't see him again. For transparency's sake, it is important to note that Rachel was assaulted and harassed by someone from her church previously in her past when she was, I think, like 8 or 9.
Yeah, real low.
Yeah, and that comes into play later.
Yeah.
But at this point, Rachel then goes, a couple years pass, and she's working at the gym again. And it turns out that one of the girls has another injury and they're sending her to Larry. Rachel tries and gets people to look into it, go to it, like, hey, don't send anyone to Larry. Even though at this point Larry's even more famous and more renowned. She goes to
because the thing he's super well known for was, I can't remember her name. You might, Andy, the Olympian who she did the vault and like tore a bunch of ligaments in her ankle on the first vault, and then she went back and vaulted again and landed it and won, but she was like crawling off the mat afterwards. It was Katie.
Kayla Maroney?
No,
Kayla Maroney was hurt when she did hers, but this was like
Katie something, wasn't it?
It's like the famous one you see where she does the vault and she does this and she's immediately like just fucking crumbles. But then that Caroli asshole is running over there like, oh, you did it, you did it, you did it. Because
and then Larry's the one that helps her off of the off the mat. And like I think that was the big moment because like everyone like in the commentary, like the commentators were talking about Larry Nassar and like his like how he was like a volunteer and like everyone loves him, blah 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 type of a thing. And I think that's where it kind of became like his famous, like where he really kind of picked up because he was always at the Olympics for USA after that.
Rachel's trying to stop this girl from being sent to Larry, so she tells one of the higher up coaches. Rachel's not even a coach; she's just a volunteer. She tells one of the coaches that she's worked with for years, whose boyfriend's a cop. They run Larry's name. Nothing comes up. We'll get to why that's important.
There's a lot of instances of things should have happened with the amount of times he was reported to the police.
At this point, Larry had been reported, I think, 3 times, and none of them actually went through. And that's why when the cop ran his name, no charges, nothing came up. They're like, oh, we already sent her to Larry. And this kind of like breaks Rachel and she quits. And then I don't remember where they move. She gets married. She moves around. That's ever the last time she like has something to do with Larry, even from a peripheral standpoint. And then the Indy Star publishes their massive article on USAG. She comes out. She's like she goes to the newspaper. She goes to the district attorney of that area, and then she starts the whole process. And this is where she was assaulted when she was before Larry comes out, and they're like, oh, she is overthinking it. She's a victim, and now she's projecting that assault onto what Larry did. It's important to note that throughout this entire time, throughout like a 14-year period, she's talked to several physical therapists about the quote unquote internal alignment that Larry did. Every single one of them is like, I don't know what the fuck he did. That's not alignment. That is nothing even close to alignment. From the fact that he's not wearing gloves, from the fact that he's doing in and out motions. That's not it. That is not even close to what alignment is. And over the course of
Also,
these
a fun
years,
thing about that, for that treatment, you're supposed to get informed consent.
Yep. Also, it's typically done by a female doctor or practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
just to make sure shit like this doesn't happen. To make
Also,
sure,
at no point, I don't think at any point in those treatments is there supposed to be anal penetration,
no,
because he eventually gets comfortable with each one of them. That after a couple times, like he starts doing
no.
anal penetration also.
Throughout the years, Rachel becomes as close to being an expert on internal alignment as you can be without having a doctorate or studying this.
When she joined the investigation, like with the Star and everything, and they went to interview her the first time, she had over 100 pages of like medical notes on it.
So throughout the years, she becomes that, and then like when the charges get filed against Larry, it's shocking. His lawyer. This is the one somewhat comedic part of all of this. Larry's first attorneys go, "No, that's not alignment at all. He never did alignment. Why would he do alignment? He didn't. He doesn't even know what alignment is."
I was gonna say he tells his lawyers to say that.
Yeah,
like the lawyers don't just come out and say that. Like he tells his lawyers, like they quote him on what he says.
And then it occurs to Rachel, holy shit, he has no idea what internal alignment is. He has no idea where it even starts. He fires his lawyers, and then he gets a new lawyer that says it was alignment, or like it was a different kind of alignment or something.
This dude dug a hole for himself so fucking fast. So fast.
Yeah, he dug his own grave. And then throughout these years, when she goes to these physical therapists, it's noted in her file. So there is a paper trail of, yes, she did ask about this. She asked about what internal alignment is.
Not a lot of people that do it.
So, no, and it's typically not necessary because it's easily done through other means.
It's like a last ditch effort for an injury.
Yeah, yeah, and like I never mind. I don't know where
we
that thought process was
are.
going.
Just a disclaimer: none of us are medical professionals here.
Not at all.
Also,
no.
I think all of us barely made it through undergraduate. So,
Please get degrees.
we got there though. We all walked across. I mean, I don't know about Andy, but I would assume we all walked across that stage. I'm getting no clap back from Andy, so I have no fucking clue.
We don't have to talk about that right now.
We all walked across that stage for what it means.
It's fine. Jeff and I technically should have walked across that stage twice.
True.
And then eventually it goes to trial and she testifies.
We'll get into that, but do you have anything on any of the other victims?
Only the girl that Rachel was friends with. And
I can't remember her name either.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Sorry for that, by the way. We should have been more prepared on the names and stuff.
Did she ever come out?
She might have came out as a Jane Doe. There's a lot of Jane
Does.
Does.
I don't think she ever put her name on anything. One thing that like, so when I was listening to the book, this one got me. When like again 14 years later, when Rachel goes back to the coach she talked to, she's like, all right, do you remember this? And she's like, yes, I'll remember it. Yes, I'll testify. Yes. And she's like, the coach goes, Rachel, I'm so sorry. I just assumed that if this was serious, you would have told someone.
Jesus.
And then Rachel just goes, I told you. That one fucking killed me.
Yeah.
That hit way too hard. And it's fucking kids. This is where I stutter because I'm starting to get fucking pissed. It just takes so much out of you. It's like, oh, fuck this guy. Someone get a fucking bunch of sticks and put him in a field real quick. It's all right. I'm done before I start.
No, go ahead. If we cut it out, we fucking cut it out.
No, I'm good. That's the only good input I have left. It's just that one fucking took it out of me.
Yeah, this whole story, I don't know how you like read anything about this story or hear anything, talk about it without getting pissed off, because it's fucking disgusting on all levels. What Larry Nassar did, what the head of USA Gymnastics did, it's just gross.
Yeah. And One of the things that Rachel says helped her come out was I think it was the Boston Globe story in the early 2000s about the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of those things is like, all right, people are listening. People do want to listen.
So a thing in Athlete A, when she's first introduced in Athlete A for her like interviews and stuff in it, she says that she came across the Indie Star thing completely by accident. She was doing something in the kitchen with her daughter, and she realized she needed to make a grocery list. So she opened her laptop, and it was open to Facebook. And at that like section that says like fucking trending headlines was Indie Star's thing on USA Gymnastics and sexual abuse or whatever, and Larry Nassar or whatever the fuck it was called. And she clicked on it and read it, and she was like, this, if there was a time, it's now. And that's how pretty much all of them came forward. It was like, okay, there were others, they're coming out, let's just pile it on this man, like make it to where there is no doubt that this man did it.
Yeah,
because like you see a lot of like, there's a couple allegations and they dismiss them. You get hundreds. Good luck dismissing hundreds of allegations. You shouldn't be able to do like with allegations, like unless you can 100% prove that they're just allegations and like nothing happened, they shouldn't be dismissed. They should 100% be investigated all the way through, like to the full extent that they can be.
Jeff, as much as it pains me to say this, I see your statement and I raise you the Catholic.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts me to say that as a
Catholic school kid right here.
Howdy doody. 12 years.
Yeah, K through 8. I didn't go.
I didn't go.
I decided not to. I went to the public high school. My younger brother is actually a senior at the Catholic high school here. He chose to go to that, which is just insane.
As someone who still practices and as someone who still believes, it is wild how so the big thing is that, and this goes for Larry too. One thing you have to realize is that these people didn't become priests or doctors and then become predators. They were predators and then thought,
they chose
this is
their path.
Best way to do it.
And Larry got that in high school. In fucking high school.
This is true. He did. One of the things,
he got the fucking power in high school. I don't know if he did. I don't know if there's allegations of him in high school doing that. But
no,
he was allowed to work on fellow students.
You know, there are allegations from him in high school that it did happen.
Of course.
And one of those things is like, obviously he's a doctor. Like that's a title.
Also, 1 second, Andy, if you're muting to fucking hide out beer tab openings, you're doing this show injustice because that's all we do here.
Okay. Well, then I won't. Sorry. I'm trying to save you some time in editing, Jeff.
Oh no, I was gonna say it doesn't help because I have to amplify them.
Yeah,
have to be the loudest thing at that moment. Like I don't care if it covers up people talking. Like that shit has.
It's just me. I'm the only.
Imagine if we were all drinking like canned drinks, like, and it's just like every 30 seconds a new one's being like popped open by someone else.
Obviously, Larry, doctor, he earned that, and the idea that these are predators that became and used, they actively sought that station because it would help them be a predator more efficiently. One thing that like kind of how it's not rationalization, obviously, because they're horrible, but like the priests that do it, yes, they have the title of priest. They were never like true priests in the religious spiritual sense because they went, this is how I want to do it. It is nothing about God or faith. It is, I want to be a predator, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nick, but also people in the Catholic Church knew about that shit and hid it for a long time.
I hope they all.
There was a network of fucking pedophiles.
I agree. Yeah.
Just when something happened, it's like, oh, you got caught. Let's move you here. Or let's move you.
USAG was kind of the same way.
Yeah, it was like the gymnastics. Like a lot of people knew about it, and they just
very, very similar.
Shuffled it under the rug.
Conspiracy to commit is the same thing as committing.
Yeah,
like if you like from a legal standpoint, like conspiracy to commit murder is the same sentence as murder.
Yeah. I don't know. It just brings up the point I brought up in part one of like it happened to USAG, And we just know like a huge factor of Larry Nassar. Like, imagine what happened in USAG that we don't like was never tried, and then across the world in female gymnastics. Like, I can't even fathom. Like, it's insane.
Yeah,
And
like,
then it makes you think of any like young, like any kids in sports. Like,
yeah, like
how many of their coaches are legitimate, just like child predators
like
that like aren't taught.
imagine from like well before this. This has been probably happening forever. And the only reason why it came out now was like our social climate of like women's rights and like women actually being able to have a voice now. Where
And it's not even like we say that, but it's
40s
still,
they probably
it's still
weren't
so
able
far
to do
behind where it
anything.
should be.
It is, but like in the 40s, no one could say anything because no one gave a shit.
They in Athlete Day, they show like after Jamie Dancher comes out and says that she was someone who was a sexual victim of Larry Nassar. Like they show the Facebook comments on those like articles and stuff, and people are fucking brutal. They're like, she's just doing it for her attention. Oh, she had to wait until she was in her 30s to find out that it was sexual abuse, like shit like that. It's
Twitter,
because no one cares in like the 80s. Like,
so
was it Twitter? I thought it
Rachel,
was Facebook, but I could be wrong.
I think it was Facebook. I'm looking at my Twitter. That is why I said the word Twitter. I meant Facebook.
Yeah.
So Rachel, at the time where she came out against Larry, there was a scandal going on within her church, and she spoke out against the church official, and she got like a lot. I don't remember what it's a very ultra conservative denomination of Christian. I can't remember which one. It's like where it's almost, I don't think it's Mormon, but it's like, it's basically like you got like home groups and everyone's helping each other. It's that I can't remember what it is, but she had her and her husband had their own group, and her husband was kind of higher up. He lost his position because Rachel spoke out, and I don't think they got kicked out of the church, but like they almost did when Rachel spoke up against Larry. She was told you're making too much noise.
We'll come back to Rachel. Let's try to hit on a couple of the other victims, because I mean, sadly, we can't go into all of them. There are hundreds of allegations.
You can only handle so much depression.
Yeah, there's hundreds of allegations. I'm just gonna hit on the ones in Athlete Day. So I don't know how to word this, but like I would love to talk about all of them, but these are the ones that are prominent in my mind right now that I can. Yet again, my book didn't really go into a whole lot of the abuse as much as it went into how USA Gymnastics just allowed it to happen, type of a thing. Jamie Dancher, she was the 2000 Olympic team. I don't know if she was in 96 or after that, but she was on the 2000. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, she's one of the ones that came out, and she was one that I think she was one of the ones that got. No, she was one of the ones that got sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar like the entire time that they were at the Olympics. Like, because she had a lower back injury, and she said at one point it was up to 4 times a day that he was sexually assaulting her because he was doing treatment on her. 4 fucking times a day during the Olympics is what, 2 weeks, right? But you're there before the 2 weeks too. It's like 2 weeks of actual Olympic games, but you're there probably a week or two ahead just to train and get acclimated.
And it's not like you're in some like cushy hotel or whatever. They're in the Olympic Village. You saw this year. They're sleeping on cardboard bed frames. Living quarters and shit. It's like a big ass dorm room that they're in.
Oh, we need to talk about how I don't know how to word this, but in Athlete Day, like it shows Rachel Dancher like interviewing in her home at the time when she came out. Like, these people are not living nice now. Like they're not okay. I'm not saying they're living poorly, but like they weren't living extravagant lights like
houses, Jeff. Jesus Christ.
No, like they're not living in like extravagant things. Jesus Christ. But no, they're not like you think.
In my black room.
Oh my God. So
these peasants can't even afford the color black, and look at me rolling in it.
Did they blow big vape clouds like I do? Don't think so.
Probably not, because they're healthy. They're also probably not drinking at 10 a.m. on a Sunday.
Cheers, I'll drink to that, bro.
Oh, fucking
Cheers,
hell.
So yeah, but like it shows their like the home that she was in, like you think of athletes, especially on that stage, you would think big elaborate homes. Like you think NFL players, NHL players, you got NBA, like any prominent sport in the
but
US. You're like,
these Olympic sports, these athletes they're not making as much as people in the NFL.
You have
most
to-
of them make it off sponsorship.
Yeah,
I mean,
right,
they
yeah,
make
it's all endorsements, I'm
sponsorship, they
pretty
make
sure.
endorsements, but they're not signing $50 million contracts.
Michael Phelps.
Like these dudes in the fucking NBA are signing 4-year, $120 million deals. Like
the NFL's getting to that too. The
Yeah.
salary cap is supposed to raise every year from this year on.
yeah,
like,
and
Jesus.
what
we
is
don't
it?
even want to talk
what is
about
it,
the
like-
MLB where they don't have a salary cap.
So these like you can qualify for the Olympics, but I don't necessarily know if you're making any money just for being at the Olympics. Yes, from sponsorships or whatever, but it's like if you get a gold medal, I think it's $50K. Silver, it's like 20 or 30. Bronze, it's like 10. So it's like, yeah, if you're really fucking good and if you are Michael Phelps, like Adam said, it's like you're getting 8 gold medals, 8 times 50. That's
No, I said it, Nick. Fuck you.
whatever. Yeah, sorry, Nick. No, Adam said it in my mind. It's okay.
Fuck.
I'm kidding. But no, it's
Hold on, Adam. Can you say it right now so I can edit out Nick so you can say it?
Oh, like Michael Phelps.
Yeah, thank you.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
No, but it is a good point. No, but I get what you're saying, because when we think about these Olympic athletes that we see on the international stage every 4 years, you don't think about them just being, normal people and having like a normal ass $100,000 house. You know what I mean?
If I remember correctly, I'm most of the US shooting team, they don't get paid anything. They just get comped ammunition from companies. That's their sponsorship, is they get ammo.
Like the US,
that's it.
The dude that won the rifle competition in gold this year was like a student at the University of Kentucky.
Yeah. And I guarantee he's still paying for college.
Do you think the name and likeness will change like the Olympic? Because most of them are like
No, it doesn't.
underage.
It doesn't even affect their eligibility for Olympic sports. It doesn't matter as far as I know. Like some of them can just be like, "Hey, yeah, fuck this. I'm going pro." Like I'm pretty sure one of the dudes from the US in the 200 was like 16 or 17, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm just not going to college. I'm just a professional runner now."
Mhm.
Which
It's like, so
go ahead
thing is, like,
by all means.
to think about like what you said about how much they make per gold, and like you have to fucking medal to get paid.
You know how hard it is to fucking medal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a world stage. The best of everywhere is here. But it's like to think of that, and then the NBA players make so much, and then think of them going and playing on the Olympic team, and this is literally chunk change to them. And like,
You got dudes.
oh, this is for me to be able to buy a watch. Like,
You got dudes in the NBA that are like averaging like 10 minutes a game that are making like $80,000 a year, like or $80 million on their fucking, not a year, but on their contracts. So a good like 20 million to 15 million dollars.
I'd throw a ball for 80 grand a year.
No
Fuck it.
No shit.
I'd play basketball horribly for fucking 20K a
Well,
year.
that
Like,
is the kicker, boys. You have to be good at basketball.
Ah, fuck.
I have a new fucking life goal.
To be able to make 20K.
By
a
the
year.
age of 40, I want to make 40K a year on a practice squad for an NBA team.
So
I mean, that's like the NFL. What does NFL practice squads make?
NFL practice squad is like 100K or 80K or something, isn't it?
just yeah.
I'd get my
It's like-
fucking
it's the
back
old-
broken by a middle linebacker.
It's the
for
old
100.
it's the old Brett Favre argument. It's like they kept asking like
Mhm.
why he kept coming back. It's like, you're gonna pay me how much? Yeah, sure, I'll do that. And then it was just like, why not keep going? It's like you go on the practice squad, make a couple 100,000 every year, just see if you can get to
You got
50.
Tom
Like,
Brady at 44, like I could still fucking make sure that everyone knows their fucking place in this league.
No
So
shit.
And it is below me.
No shit.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, okay, back to it. But yeah, Jamie Dancher was like getting molested like 4 times a day during the Olympic
What a
trials. Like,
transition. Oh,
Yeah.
what a transition.
I'm just going back. I'm just going
I'm
back.
sorry.
What are
Yeah.
transitions? What are transitions, sir?
And she talks about it in Athlete A, and it's just like you're so you're so beaten down by coaches and stuff, just telling you like you're fat, like you're doing this wrong, like you're not going to amount to anything if you can't figure this out. Like she was the one that lost like, I think it was her. It might not have been, but she lost like 6 pounds. No, that was Maggie Nichols that lost like 6 pounds due to having the flu. And then they're like, okay, we need to figure out how to keep that off of you. It's like, oh, hey, it's not like, oh, hey, you're feeling better. Like, cool, let's get back to it. It's like, oh, you lost weight. Well, stop being a fat ass so we can keep you down to this weight. It's like, what in the actual fuck is going on here? And then Larry has all-time access at the ranch to their fucking dorms. He was molesting them in like their like living quarters. There was like a massage table in like the TV room where like they would just get molested in the fucking TV room by him because he just knew how to position his body to where no one ever saw. And then everyone else is also getting molested. So it just seems even more normal to everyone that like, oh, this is just treatment. But like they are so beaten down mentally that like you're getting physically abused at practice 8 hours a day. You're getting verbally abused. That like the sexual abuse just kind of meshes with it, and it's like, this is just gymnastics. This is just what I need to do to be an Olympian or be good at this. And that's so fucking so far past wrong. Like there's a line, and that is like so far across that line.
The line sailed far before that.
Yeah, I don't think there ever was a line, to be honest with you. It's just this whole like, the more and more you like read into the situation and like just find out more shit, the more and more, at least me personally, just go, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like how
at the top of it, it's Larry Nassar, and then you read into Larry Nassar, and it's like, there's a whole fucking organization.
But the fucked up thing is, people knew what he was fucking doing. It's the goddamn CEO or whatever, the dude that was in charge of
president.
Yes, the president of USGA. That's a marketing major or a marketing mind or whatever.
I cannot wait to get into Steven. What is his name? Steven.
So as soon as he hears that, what is this guy thinking? If he's about marketing, he's about image. He's about we need to make sure we look as good as possible, so I'm able to keep my contracts with Nike, keep my contracts with fucking McDonald's, whatever. Big Coca-Cola, all that bullshit.
Hershey's was a fucking sponsor of USAG.
So do you think if he hears this from fucking parents, he's gonna jump at it to get rid of this dude? No, he's gonna be like, how can I? He should jump at it to get rid of the dude. What he did not do was that he was like, let me cover this up as best as possible. No, you guys are all fine. It's good. You know what? No, Larry's cool. We'll talk to him. But no, he's cool. It's being handled. Like that was the most.
Know what? Fuck it. We're there. Let's just go into Steven.
Real quick. I have a question. Did U.S. Olympic Committee know anything about this?
Oh, 100%. The committee. I don't know.
U.S. Olympic.
I don't know about the committee.
Not USAG.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not.
So because the fact that Penny was the one that never allowed it to go past him,
I think they might.
And Penny's the top of USAG, and then it goes to the Olympic Committee, I would assume he kept it from all of them.
All right.
I would assume, but I also don't put it past
someone.
At this point, yeah,
someone might have known.
I don't know.
I think somebody knew. I think somebody knew, because if you guys remember from this Olympics this year, the USA Olympic Committee got heat because I don't remember what sport it was, but it was like when an athlete, it was a male athlete, and it was like a mixed sport. So there were female athletes on the team too.
Was it skateboarding maybe?
I don't know if it was skateboarding, but whoever it was like a known, like he had a case, like a sexual assault case against him or something. And like it was known by the committee, and they still let him be on the team. Like they still let him go to Tokyo.
I don't know of many mixed sports in the Olympics.
Well, I mean, it was a sport that had men and women going. That it was just, I don't know if they competed together, but I know like whatever sport it was, there were both genders play it.
Yeah, it's possible that
I think volleyball and tennis.
Maybe not the whole committee, but someone on the committee had to know, right?
Like, yeah, I just don't believe that it's not all corrupt after the shit that I've heard.
So let's talk about Stephen Penny. So he got into USAG by being the head of the marketing department. And then from being the head of the marketing department, he became the president because he was so good at marketing. And when you start winning gold medals and you start doing really well at the Olympics, what do you want to do? Grow your fucking brand so you can keep that shit going and make as much money as possible.
Exactly.
And that's where Stephen Penny came in, and they were like, this is our guy. And then I don't know if it was Stephen Penny that put that policy in or not, but there was the policy that we talked about in part 1 of if the sexual allegations isn't brought up by the victim or the victim's parents, it is hearsay and will not be taken to the police.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the one that implemented that, but
It sounded like that was a rule before.
Yeah, but he was completely okay with it.
Fucking piece of shit, Stephen Penny, dude. This Larry Nassar shit could have been stopped long before.
He did it for 29 years.
Yeah,
at the Olympic level. At the Olympic level, he did it for 29
I'm not saying
years.
this shit wouldn't have still happened because it would have.
Yeah.
But they knew about this shit.
But there was a chance to have a slightly better person at his position than him.
And there was a chance to have slightly better gymnasts at the Olympics that he decided to hold out because Maggie Nichols and her family decided to go public with their Larry Nassar allegations. Yeah. She's one of the she finished second in all around to Simone Biles at the 2015 World Championships, I think.
Yeah. And she was on the 2012 Olympic team.
I don't think she was.
Was she not? I thought she was on an Olympic team beforehand.
No, she was because the 2012 was the 2012 was the Fab Five, and she wasn't a part of the Fab Five. Yeah. But she was really good. She was in elite gymnastics. She had a lot of hype around her. As soon as her and her family come forward with the Larry Nassar thing, they try to just like wipe her from the face of the earth. They don't pick her for the team, even though at the trial she scored well enough and better than multiple girls that made the team.
Even the alternates.
I mean, Jeff, you told me to remind you.
Yeah. I wanted to do this at the end. I want to do that at the end.
Okay.
As like a huge fuck you.
Do that at the end.
We will talk about it.
Do that at the end then. But still, it's just like.
She's good. She's very fucking good.
She was one of the best gymnasts in the world. Didn't get a chance to compete at the highest stage. Arguably could have won multiple gold medals.
Yeah, arguably second to Simone Biles. Like arguably could have.
No, she was no. She was second to Simone.
No, I mean arguably could have topped her at some point, possibly.
Sure,
she kept at that point.
But she was literally at the World Championships, the second highest meet besides the fucking Olympics. She finished second in the all around, which is, I don't know if you guys know what all around means, but it's every goddamn event in gymnastics. And it directly
the vault.
It directly goes back to Steve Penny because they interview Maggie's parents from the trials. As soon as they get to the trials, they knew something was up. Every other set of family members for anybody competing had a camera on them. They had a producer following them around. The Nichols had none of that. They had their seats reserved, all this shit. Nichols had none of that. It just doesn't make sense. And it like the way the documentary, like Athlete A, it just made it seem like so obvious that they were doing it, which like that pissed me off even more. It's like, yeah, we're gonna fuck you over and we're gonna do it right in your fucking face and not really hide anything about it. So if
you want to know what about Athlete A really hit me, and I don't know why, and it's probably not one of the top things that should be taken away from it, is how Maggie Nichols' dad was during the interviews of that. He was so innocent and just wanted the best for his daughter that like him sending, like he was like, we would send him to that camp and like no parents are allowed, but like you want the best for your daughter. Like it's the best training in the fucking nation. And she's going to be an Olympian. Like you don't think about that. Like you just, and then when she called like about, hey, I think I was just sexually abused. It's like, oh shit. Like you just, I don't know. Like I just, the way, if you watch Athlete A and you see the way he talks about it, it's just like heartbreaking because he's really just trying to do the best for his daughter. And then like when it comes out and like it's like she was being sexually abused there, you can just kind of like, he doesn't cry or anything, he doesn't really like stutter, but like you can just see in his facial expression how like it breaks him. And that like really fucked with me. But Athlete A is named after Maggie Nichols because Maggie Nichols is her case is technically one that breaks everything into coming out, like everyone else stepping forward their allegations, because she's at the ranch in 2015, and because it's the year before, right? It's 2015 because the Olympic trials would have been going on, because she was supposed to compete to, be on the Olympic team, which she should have been. So she calls her parents because they were in that TV room, and she got molested by Larry Nassar. He did the internal, quote unquote, internal rotation or whatever the fuck it's called. He fingered her there, and then her teammate went right after her, and she came. When she came back, she asked her teammate, she's like, "Is this normal? Is this something that he does?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's happened to me before." She's like, "I think we were just sexually abused. Like, I don't think that's a thing." And she calls her mom, and her mom immediately brings it up. Her mom calls USAG, and Stephen, like a day later, she gets a call from Stephen Penny himself. He's like, "Do not go to the police with this. We will handle it. Do not talk to the police. Don't talk to the public about it, because if you do, you jeopardize this investigation." Straight up lies to her. Nothing happens for 5 weeks because he hires an outside source to investigate it, who investigates sexual harassment in large companies. And she investigates it, and then she comes back to Stephen Penny, and then he says he hands it over to the FBI, which he did. The FBI doesn't do anything for 15 months. Nothing happens for 15 months. Her parents keep getting told, like, don't do anything, don't say anything to the public, because you will jeopardize like the investigation. And that's when they go to the Olympic trials, and like nothing's on them or anything. Stephen Penny says if there were, that shit would be brought up and it would hurt the reputation of USAG, which is fucking bullshit. They weren't doing anything. So a thing to put out there that Athlete Dave showed to me that I didn't read anywhere else, the FBI to this day is still being investigated for it, for their like for what happened in this whole case, because they didn't investigate it. No one did anything, because Stephen Penny offers jobs to FBI agents trying to pay them more, so they don't. He's like, "Oh, stop working for the FBI, come work for USAG. We'll give you a higher salary, better benefits, shit like that, and this will all just go away."
Considering that the median salary of FBI is like $40K, that's not a high bar.
Yeah. Offer him $20K more. It's USAG.
Hell, double it.
Yeah, double it. Fucking $80K. Like,
yeah,
probably take it. I don't think he did. I didn't hear anything about that. He took it, but like basically bribing an FBI agent to come work for him instead, and like just blow this all under the rug. But yeah, the FBI is still being investigated for that. Also, I don't know who the fuck investigates the FBI, because the FBI is the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
DOJ.
It's who?
DOJ, Department of Justice.
Oh yeah, that adds up. No, that makes sense. I forget that they're there.
Most people do.
Yeah, because they don't do a lot.
Yep.
I'm not saying their job's not important, but you just don't hear about
Do
it.
it.
They don't do.
Doing it would be nice.
Yeah. So yeah, like the FBI gets investigated for it, but Stephen Penny, because is the Indie Star the one that like not interrogates him, but like interviews him, and like they're like, "Is it true you have this policy?" And he's like, "Yeah, we have that policy. Like, we're not going to send that over to the police if it's just an allegation not given to us by the victim or their parents." It's like, it's an allegation. You should probably figure that shit out. And then Stephen, oh my God, he just denies everything during the entire thing. In his, like, when he's in front, I don't remember what it's called, but he's in front of like a bunch of senators at one point after Larry Nassar is like convicted or something, and they're asking him questions. He just keeps pleading the fifth, and they're like, "Can we just assume that you're going to plead the fifth to every question we ask you?" And he's like, "Yeah." And one of the senators goes, "So we understand that, but don't you think you should give some justice to these victims that you messed up?" And he just doesn't say anything. They're like, "You can just leave the court." And he just gets up and leaves. And a woman literally shouts shame at him as he's walking down.
It's like Game of Thrones. Shame.
Yeah.
Shame. Shame.
And it's just, it's annoying. It's annoying that nothing like at that time happened to him, and that he just won't fucking own up to the fact that he's a giant piece of shit. But yeah, so in 2015, it's brought up to a lieutenant detective in Michigan State's police department. Someone calls and they're like, "Hey, you handle sexual abuse cases, right?" And they're like, "Yes, we do." And they tell them, "Hey, I have a sexual abuse like claim from 16 years ago against Larry Nassar." And apparently in 2014 they also had one. They brought him in and they interviewed him, and they sent it to the prosecution, and the prosecution tabled it because they're like, we can't get anything from this. Like, we're not going to win it. Like, there's no like hard evidence or anything. So in 2016 they interview Nassar, and Andy, can we just talk about how horrible this interview is and how much of a piece of shit he is with this detective? She's like asking him questions, and he like starts to slowly get more nervous. He starts to stutter. He gets to a point where he's trying to explain like this internal rotation or whatever, and he's like using medical terms and stuff, and then he just goes multiple times. He looks at her and he's like, you wouldn't understand it, and like blah blah blah. And then they cut to her being interviewed for this documentary, and she goes, it doesn't matter if I don't understand it, you got to tell it to me. It's being recorded, it's an interview, you need to tell it to me, so if we bring in an expert witness, they can go over what you're saying. You can't just be like, you wouldn't understand it. It's not for me to understand.
Mans was about to start crying in that fucking interrogation room. Like 2 minutes in, he realized he fucked up. Which is fucked up to say that it took him 29 years to realize that he fucked up. But as soon as this lady starts asking questions, you can just like, his demeanor immediately changes. Like
he's like wiping his face.
He's nervous. He's sweating. He's on the verge of tears explaining some of this shit. He's stuttering like Nick did earlier. Super embarrassing.
I don't like this. I no longer like this.
Not a good look.
She leaves the room. But she tells him beforehand, because it's just an interview. She's like, you can leave at any time. This man didn't have to sit there and talk to her. The second she started questioning him, he could have got up and left. As Nick and I here with your legal
advice that you probably
legal advice from the Drunken Jurors Party.
What's your theme song? Legal advice with Nick and Jeff.
The Fifth Amendment.
Yeah,
Silence.
It's actually Law and Order's intro, but all of it's off tune and slightly upbeat. Yeah, but faster. But it's just like super fast. Yeah, it's that. Yeah,
free legal advice with Nick and Jeff. If the officers say you can leave.
You can leave at any time. The second they start asking you questions other than what's your name, leave.
Yep. Also,
or also if you walk in the room and they say that, leave.
More. Be like,
I'm gonna get a lawyer. We can talk later, and just leave.
More free legal advice with Nick and Jeff: don't sexually assault kids.
Oh yeah. Number one rule of our free legal advice: just don't commit crimes.
Yeah,
and you'll never be in these situations.
But if you do, leave. Also, Larry's an idiot for not leaving. That's a really big thing that I'd like to add as a takeaway.
Because she gets up and leaves.
He's an idiot.
Partway through the interview, she gets up and leaves, and I love it because in Athlete A they take the security footage and they zoom in on him, and he's just hunched over, and they show it for like 10 to 15 seconds. He doesn't do anything, nothing said. They just show him in his spot, like just him falling apart, like mentally. He's just looking at the floor, his like legs twitching, he's just breaking mentally. Oh, so yeah, then the Indy Star gets more into it. They start coming out with more headlines. So they even say it when they're interviewing people from the Indy Star. Larry Nassar was never their goal. Their goal was to fucking pin USAG for what they've done. Their number one goal was getting USAG and showing the world what they did, or what they're doing, what they've done, all of it, just awful stuff. So that was number one thing. So Larry Nassar leaves that. Then literally every day since then, they're getting more and more accusations. The numbers are growing every day of people coming in and giving more of their story, saying yeah, this is a thing. He's a predator. This is an issue. He retires during it. He retires from USA Gymnastics because fun part. He's running for a school board position.
Yeah,
is why he retires. He's going to go work with kids exclusively. He retires. They get a search warrant for his house on September 20th, 2016, I think.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's 2015 or 16. I can't remember off the top of my head. They get a search warrant because they had people tell them that he was molesting them in his house, in his basement. Like he had a massage table, and he would sexually abuse them there. So they got a search warrant to search his house. The trash hadn't been picked up that day, and his trash can was out on the out by the road and was full. They open it up, they find several hard drives that are like perfect. That are
Gotta love it.
Several hard drives that are perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Well, perfect for evidence. They're labeled with his name and like the date.
Listen, a quick tangent here. If you've committed a crime and you have like physical evidence on a hard drive, why in the fuck are you putting it in your own garbage?
Because he's stupid.
Take
There's
the
a lot of
30
really
minutes to fucking drive to another town or whatever and throw it in a dumpster or something.
You want to
Look up the Hillary Clinton tutorial.
if you would actually like to know, not legal advice, but weird little tidbit I'm going to give you. If you want to burn a hard drive, buy a really cheap, shitty microwave, throw your hard drives in it, turn it on. It blows up everything in the hard drive.
Or magnets.
Magnets also work.
Yep. Or like I said, bleach bit.
But you also will blow up the microwave. So do that shit outside or something. But I don't know why I'm giving advice to criminals. That actually doesn't work. Ignore that.
Yeah,
This is getting cut out.
Free legal advice.
Free criminal advice from Jeff.
Yeah.
It's the
That's
Law and
getting cut
Order
out.
song, but lower.
Slow down. Yeah. So then they arrest him, and his trial is interesting. It goes straight to sentencing because he just signs a plea deal. On those hard drives where I believe it was over like 31,000 like pictures of child pornography, like what they would classify as child pornography. How many fucking hard drives do you have to have 31,000 fucking
Depends on the hard
Jesus
drive.
fuck.
Actually, well, no, this was 2012, so I think probably the biggest.
This is from like his entire career, I'm assuming. So some of those hard drives had to be from the 90s.
I hate it.
He signs a plea deal for all the child pornography, and there was another thing on it. I can't remember what it was, but so he didn't get charged with like traveling with the intent to, or foreign travel with the intent to commit sexual abuse, because that's like now multiple countries like going to be able to charge him with shit. So he signs that. But a fun thing about plea deals is you then give up
Right to the fifth.
Yeah, you give up your right to the fifth, and you allow all victims to give witness impact statements at your sentencing. His sentencing had so many fucking victim impact statements. That courtroom was packed with just his victims. And I don't know if there's a case in US history that had the criminal getting put on blast by so many fucking people. Because I'm just going to read a couple little tidbits of different impact statements. If anyone's got anything to say before we go into this, go ahead. Because I just have the shit pulled up. So
I'm good. I'm good. I'm thoroughly depressed.
I'm going to read some victim impact statements that were at Larry Nassar's sentencing. I'm getting it from the Detroit News. The headline is 204 impact statements, 9 days, 2 counties, a life sentence for Larry Nassar. Yeah, wild. Kyle Stevens, his number is the first one I'm going to read here. Just a tidbit.
The dude?
He would tell me no. There is a victim her name is Kyle Stevens. I thought that too. She's in Athlete A for like half a second.
Hand up. Super sexist for me to assume that it was a dude whose name is Kyle. I apologize.
How dare you? On this podcast of all podcasts. How dare you?
Nick, I don't want to hear it from you. Adam, you're allowed to give me shit.
Michael Phelps.
Thank you.
Michael Phelps.
Yes, I get to
Thank
use
you,
it
Adam.
twice. Kyle Stevens says he would tell me that I'm here, Larry, not to tell someone, but to tell everyone. You stuck your fingers in my adolescent vagina. You used my body for 6 years for your own sexual gratification. That is unforgettable. We do not support how MSU has treated myself or any of these victims.
What a transition.
Michigan State's
Ugh.
also in the blame here because he
Yeah,
worked for
yeah.
them for the entire time he was with USA Gymnastics. Multiple
Their public
allegations,
safety
they did
team
nothing.
or their public safety police department covered half of it up.
For a while there, yeah.
Mm.
Or most of it until this comes out, because they're also kind of the ones that got that interview with him. So Jessica Thomashow, I think is how it's pronounced. Thomas Howe. I don't know if it's Thomas Howe or Thomas Show, or sorry for mispronouncing.
Sorry,
that.
Jess.
It's okay. Thanks, Andy, for fucking that up. Andy, can you say Jessica? Can you say the last name so I can replace me saying it and then you apologizing to me
Jessica
about it?
Jessica Thomashow.
There we go. Perfect.
Sorry,
No, you can
Jeff.
cut me out fucking it up. There it is. This works out. I was alone in the back room with him. He had me lie down on the table and he sexually assaulted me. He touched the most innocent places on my body that day. Whenever it was over, I was so confused. It was awful and embarrassing. I left and kept the disgusting thing that had happened to me to myself.
Can you imagine the oh shit moment Nassar had from the first person that stepped up to that fucking podium to the 300th or 200th or whatever
204 impact statements.
Can you imagine what's going through his head, just being like obviously
in
like
video-
everybody in the fucking world knew about it with the with the articles and shit that came out with all the accusations, but having to sit through that and hear that when you're in a court and you cannot say anything back. Not that he should be able to say anything back or should have any fucking response. And I'm glad that these women were able to do this, but just wild.
So the thing about taking a plea deal is you waive your right to have like a full why can't I think of the word trial? Like you take away your you go straight to sentencing from there. And then it's a sentencing that takes 9 days because you have 204 women. Can you imagine how long each of those court sessions was over 9 days?
Just brutal.
Like, I'm reading tidbits of each person's impact statement. Can you imagine how long each one is? I don't think they have a time limit.
No.
They just get to read. And during all the segments that they show Larry Nassar that I've seen through like this sentencing process, he has no facial expression other than just like, fuck. It's like just sitting there emotionless or, well, shit, this is happening. It's the whole thing's fucking awful. Jade, I cannot pronounce his last name. Kapua, Kappa, Capua. I do not know. She was 13 when he molested her. She said, "You are not a healer. You are also the one who must face what you've done for the rest of your life. I am no longer broken by you. Nothing will take away what you've done to me and others behind me."
Powerful.
Yeah.
Like just like watching that whole scene of the Athlete A documentary, as if before it didn't give me chills, but that was just goosebumps.
I wish it would have been longer.
For those women to have that opportunity. And, I'm a dude that has never gone through anything like this, so I cannot even imagine their mental state and what that does to you. So I don't want to act like I know what they went through, what they're still probably going through, still probably thinking about that. But just to have that moment, to be able to look your fucking abuser in the eyes, tell him exactly how you feel, and know that he can't do fucking shit about it because he got what.
And there's
you
almost no one that will tell you can't.
Has to be a great feeling. Has to be a good feeling for them. Some sense of closure, because obviously that shit is never going to leave them, and it's just fucking awful. But it made me sad to think about, but at the same time, like, it was a nice fuck you to Larry Nassar for sure.
The attorney, I can't remember his name, but the attorney in Athlete A that they interview, he talks about how when you take someone's innocence at that young of an age, you take their like full ability to love. and like appreciate loving someone or being loved by someone. Like you take it away, like you turn it into an object, and you just mentally fuck that up for the rest of their life at the age of 10, 11, 12. Like it's their first experience sexually, and you take away their ability to feel that as a normal human being ever again.
Right. It's another comparison I'm gonna make here, but it's like the day and age of like, you know, when we were growing up and like we wanted to fucking masturbate. Well, obviously, like there was just porn like readily available to us, but it's like now more so than ever. So like it's on everything, to the point where these kids that are growing up now that are like just getting introduced to it are watching like the wildest shit, that they're getting so desensitized to actually like having any fucking like in-person sexual interaction doesn't do anything for them.
Remember
Yeah,
back
they
when we
form a
didn't
fetish
when we
so
didn't know
early.
Pornhub was a thing, and we would use like magazines and shit like that. Oh,
Maxim magazine.
A lot of pages stuck together in Adam's house is what we're hearing.
Sports Illustrated swimsuit editions.
Maxim was the shit.
Andy just dribbled a little.
Yeah.
The Body Issue was Adam's favorite edition.
Also, sorry, we're not trying to make light of any sexual abuse stuff. This is still kind of a comedy podcast in a way, and I kind of hate it right now. But
This
We're
is-
trying.
We're trying to be somewhat entertaining, not
this is
overly though.
well, not even that. I think this is just our way of being able to. This is some seriously horrible shit, and my way of handling horrible things is through like a comedic view,
Mhm.
even if it's horribly or not wanted.
This is why we
Like,
have
it's still there.
unedited video podcasts that you can check out for $3 a month. On
The way to plug in the
Podbean.
middle of this, Adam. The way to
Thanks.
plug.
Thanks. You can hear all of our really not okay but comedic ways to get through some of the
Quote
rough
unquote
things.
comedic.
Ugh.
Just gonna read a couple more of these. Bethany Bauman said, when I told my mom that it hurt, she thought it was the pain in my back, not the pain in my vagina from the excruciating hour of abuse. An hour. Larry, you're the one who should feel guilt and shame for the rest of your life. Judge, I'm 100% confident that if he had not been caught, he would have continued to do this for the rest of his life. I think that's pretty accurate. Danielle
Find
Moore.
the lie.
Danielle Moore said, I hope being reduced to a prison number will define you as it defined me for so many years. I will no longer be known as a number, and I will be Dr. Danielle Moore. I'm going to read a portion of the big one that everyone knows, which is Rachel Den Hollander's victim impact statement. I'm just going to read, hers is like so long, but I'm just going to read you the beginning of it. I do want to thank you first, Judge. I cannot pronounce the judge's last name, so I'm going to skip that part. For giving all of us the chance to reclaim our voices. Our voices were taken from us for so long, and I'm grateful beyond what I can express that you have given us the chance to restore them. There are two major purposes in our criminal justice system, Your Honor: the pursuit of justice and the protection of the innocent. Neither of these purposes can be met if anything less than the maximum available sentence under the plea agreement is imposed upon Larry for his crimes. Not because the federal sentence he will already serve is lacking, but because the sentence rendered today will send a message across this country, a message to every victim and a message to every perpetrator. I realize you have many factors to consider when you fashion your sentence, but I submit to you that the preeminent question in this case, as you reach a decision about how best to satisfy the dual aims of this court, is the same question that I asked Judge Neff to consider. How much is a little girl worth? How much is a young woman worth? That was just the opening to it. She then goes on to talk about her abuse from Larry and some other things. Imagine sitting through 209 of those, showing up every day to court for 9 days, listening to all of those. And then before we wrap this up, I'm going to share it. Adam, you need to give me the ability to share if you haven't already. We are going to.
I think ahead.
Perfect. We are going to
There's time for everything.
watch.
At least I didn't end the call.
We are
That's
going
true.
to. This is from the CNN's YouTube channel. It's Larry Nassar sentence. I sign your death warrant. Judge says we're going to watch the video of the judge sentencing Larry Nassar and watch his facial expressions.
Your decision to assault was precise, calculated, manipulative, devious, despicable. I don't have to add words because your survivors have said all of that. I don't want to repeat it. You can't give them back their innocence, their youth. You can't give a father back his life, or one of your victims her life when she took it. You can't return the daughter to the mother, the father to the daughter. You played on everyone's vulnerability. I'm not vulnerable. Not to you, not to other criminals at that podium. I swore to uphold the Constitution and the law, and I am well trained. I know exactly what to do. And at this time, I'm going to do it. And I want you to know, as much as it was my honor and privilege to hear the sister survivors, it is my honor and privilege to sentence you. Because, sir, you do not deserve to walk outside of a prison ever again. You have done nothing to control those urges, and anywhere you walk, destruction will occur to those most vulnerable. Now, I am honoring the agreement. I'm also honoring what's been requested of me. And I want you to know, I'm not good at math. I have a cheat sheet. I'm only a lawyer. I know that you have a lot of education in physics and math, but I have a cheat sheet. It is my privilege on counts 1, 2, 5, 8, 10, and 18. And 24.
I love that you can just hear her flipping the pages.
Fucking write shit down.
To sentence you to 40 years. And when I look at my cheat sheet, 40 years, just so you know, and you can count it off your calendar, 480 months. The tail end, because I need to send a message to the parole board in the event somehow God is gracious, and I know He is, and you survive the 60 years in federal court first, and then you start on my 40 years, you've gone off the page here as to what I'm doing. My page only goes to 100 years. Sir, I'm giving you 175 years, which is 2,100 months. I just signed your death warrant. I need everyone to be quiet. I still have contempt powers. I told you I'm not nice. I find that you don't get it, that you're a danger. You remain a danger. I am a judge who believes in life and rehabilitation when rehabilitation is possible. I have many defendants come back here and show me the great things they've done in their lives after probation, after parole. I don't find that's possible with you. I won't make a statement until after the appeal period. And again, if there's any survivor then who, at that point, if somebody wants to talk to me, I'm sure you'll be moved on to another story, but if you're not, please give your names to the victim's advocate so that I can contact you, because please, media, do not contact me on this story without a survivor. It's their story.
Siri,
Then
play
this just
Fuck
cuts-
That Bitch by Bobby Shmurda. That's what just happened to Larry Nassar. I clapped when she said, I just signed your death warrant. Brav
Yeah.
fucking
So that is
bravo.
considered the sentencing of the century. Is what that is nicknamed, is the sentencing of a century, because she literally tells him, I just signed your death warrant. When she goes, I'm adding 40 on top of your 60, and then goes, oh, you went off the page. You serve 175 years. It's like, oof. Not only did you have 100, she just added another 75 because fuck you.
Yeah.
Because fuck you, that's why.
So we need to go on to that. That is the end of the Larry Nassar part. He gets sentenced. He's now in prison. Stephen Penny, they take him in. Like I said, he sits in front of some senators and they ask him questions. He pleads the fifth. They tell him, you should really just, like, you should talk. Like, it would do a lot for these victims, but clearly you're not going to, so just leave. And he leaves. A year later. So I don't know how many people know this, but Nick will. And I don't know how much you need to know about, like, understand. It takes a lot for you to get arrested by the U.S. Marshals.
Oh God. Oh God.
This
Ooh,
fucker
ooh.
resigned in 2017 from USAG, and he got arrested in Tennessee by the USA Marshals.
So, all right. So now, U.S. Marshals are essentially
They're the ones that run the witness protection program, right?
So think of the U.S. Marshals kind of like, if you look at like
The
local and
SEALs
state
of, like,
no. So if you look at like if you look at state police and local police, and then you have counties. Think of the marshals kind of like as the county sheriffs of the entire country. These are the guys that like essentially have jurisdiction everywhere, but only for like certain things. And when those certain things enter their jurisdiction, buddy, you're fucked.
they are so like, FBI is known for being very well trained in what they do.
Mhm.
The U.S. Marshals are like, take that training and times it by 10. These are like all fucking veterans of like special ops teams, and their only job is like, oh, you're on our list. You're not like just on that list for a while. You might get
No.
off of it. Like, we are finding you. Because so the picture, we might post it. There's a picture of Stephen Penny being arrested by the U.S. Marshals, and it is at a cabin in the middle of the woods in Tennessee.
Yeah, and like
It's
fucking
like-
Gatlinburg or like Pigeon
Yeah.
Forge, like the number one
Yeah.
vacation spot in Tennessee. You didn't think they were gonna fucking find you there, Steve?
Yeah, like, you want to do that? Go into the fucking mountains and try to like live with
I
the
mean, it
feral
is
people.
in the
Like,
mountains. Like it's, I don't know if you guys have ever been there. Like I one of
no,
my,
I'm saying go to the mountains, like with the feral people, where like no one will find you.
but like
go
no,
live like a mountain man.
Gatlinburg
Go-
and Pigeon Forge are in the mountains, but they're like a highly populated touristy area. Like, why the fuck would you get the cabin there?
So
I'm assuming he just thought like he was fine. It's been a year. Like, he's like, nothing's gonna happen."
marshals are called manhunters for a reason.
Bounty hunters of the U.S.
You need to be found. We got it. We got you.
So, like I said, the fucking U.S. Marshals are also in charge of witness protection, because they can also make you not found.
You
can
want
go-
a new name?
It's like, hey, oh yeah, your witness protection, like, we'll make sure no one ever fucking like tracks you down. Also, at the same time, if they have that ability, if you don't think that they can also fucking find your ass,
So
then good luck.
if I remember correctly, the U.S. Marshals, their witness protection program has, for the people that so the only time people are found in the U.S. Marshals program is when they break their protocols. If the person who's being protected doesn't break their protocols, the U.S. Marshals have 100% success rate.
it is insane. So fucking
Watch
good at their job.
Justified. It's a great show about U.S. Marshals. Highly recommended.
But yeah, no, that picture that they have of him being arrested by the U.S. Marshals, because they have to take like a picture to identify him, like that they have arrested him, that got leaked. That picture is so
Just sitting on the porch.
Yeah, he's sitting on the porch. He's hunched over. It looks like he's crying into his hands. And there's like 3 U.S. Marshals behind him, like talking on their radios, and like he's in handcuffs. He's just like, "Oh no, I got caught." It's like, yeah, you dumbass. You led a fucking
You're a
organization
fucking
that just
idiot.
allowed abuse of every sort.
At that point, you just gotta fucking cut your well before the arrest. Obviously, I mean, if you're waiting a year, why the fuck are you still in the United States? Like,
Because if he's probably on like a fleet. Like if he flees, I'm pretty sure someone's following him.
Interpol will definitely
Yeah.
have his ass. There's 100% a notice out from Interpol.
So being like I don't know, he probably has a private jet, but I was gonna say if you don't have like a private airport that you can leave out of,
I'm just saying,
you're
like,
gonna be
he
caught.
was the president of USA Gymnastics for
Yeah.
quite a while. You don't think he can set up a little PJ connection?
Yeah, but also like he's the head of USA Gymnastics. Everyone fucking knows him. I don't think there's really a way he gets out without someone knowing where he's going.
Yeah, I mean,
He was
that's a
also
good
probably
point.
followed that.
Well,
entire
I'm not,
time.
and
Like,
I don't want to be like, oh yeah, it's like should have got away, but I'm just like,
but
I don't know.
There's also the thought process of like, if I do that, I look guilty as shit. So if I just stay here,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's what his thought process was. Like, if I flee the country, it looks super bad on my end. So he's like, if I just stick around, I mean, like,
You
I look innocent. Yeah. But the thing I wanted to hit on that I messaged Andy this morning, I think everyone got a huge fuck you, and I don't want to like rank them like their victim impact statements, but I think personally Maggie Nichols got the biggest FU to USA Gymnastics and Larry Nassar. So she didn't make it to the 2016 Olympic team. She went on to sign with the University of Oklahoma and their gymnastics team. And she went on to, in 2017, Oklahoma won their second national title in gymnastics. And she won the all around for NCAA gymnastics. And then she went on to win it again next year. She went from like, okay, fuck, I could just walk away from gymnastics. This fucked my life. She went on to be like, hey, look at what you fucking missed, and just said fuck you to all of them, and won 2 fucking single national titles back to back and a team national title.
That's the champ, motherfucker.
That's a
Champ,
huge
champ.
fuck you. She wasn't
Gang, gang.
so there was a thing where Simone Biles was doing a sponsored commercial with Hershey's, and she chose Maggie Nichols to be on it because they're good friends. And they say Stephen Penny called and said she's not allowed to be in that commercial because of the fact that she was under the light because she had the sexual abuse. And then she just goes on to fucking
They just
NCAA fucking national titles back to back.
they
It's
did
like,
their
hey,
best.
No, fuck you.
USA Gymnastics tried to cancel her before they got canceled, or like do their best to just like suppress her and not let her do anything. But like, I don't know a lot about the gymnastics world, obviously, besides that USA Gymnastics is fucked up. But so it's like there's like elite gymnastics, which is like all the girls that are, you know,
the
world champions and going to the Olympics. And then like right under that is college. So Maggie had competed at elite gymnastics for pretty much not her
Entire
whole
life.
life, but like close to
Career.
it, close to her career.
Her entire career, basically.
And for her just to be like, you know what? I'm going to go have fun at the University of Oklahoma and just fuck around. Well, not just fuck around. Obviously, she, you know, put the work in and won national championship, but it was just, it's a great
Show
story.
you what you missed.
It's just like, okay, I can still go do gymnastics and I can go to one of the fucking biggest universities in the country and have a great time. So I really, really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. I mean,
mad respect.
how can you not enjoy somebody with that kind of story winning the natty, especially multiple times? But
on the other end, you also have to look at Simone Biles. She was also abused by Larry Nassar and still
shout out to Simone.
amazing.
I think I said it.
Yeah.
I think I said it on the last pod.
Mental health
And, I mean,
should take priority over whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody talking shit about her is you've got fucking issues yourself that you probably need to look inward and figure out. I cannot even imagine the pressure of being on the Olympic stage, and not just the Olympic stage, being back on the Olympic stage for what, the second or third time, when you have 4 or 5 moves, tricks in gymnastics named after you. You already have this. You've already set this precedent for yourself that you're the best in the world.
And they're literally changing the rules because of
exactly you. All the eyes in the not just of America but of the world on you. Excuse the fuck out of her for
put that in perspective. That's like if the NBA switched rules because of MJ being so good. Like, that's like them switching the rules in the NFL because Tom Brady's won 7 championships. They're just like, oh, by the way, I mean, which they have done because of the tuck rule.
Rules get changed.
But yeah,
Des
I mean,
caught it.
a little bit of a light at the end of this tunnel. I mean, there's still people succeeding after everything that happened. There's like Rachel Dan Hollander wrote a book, got it published. I hope she's succeeding. Like, I hope they're all succeeding in some way, shape, or form. I hope this didn't like bury them at the bottom.
I think she's got 3 kids and is a teacher in Colorado, I think.
I mean, yeah, I hope everyone's thriving in some way, shape, or form after all that. That's a lot to handle, especially at preteen, the teenage years. Like, that could possibly just fuck you the rest of your life, and it will if you don't have some sort of mental aptitude to just say fuck it and I'm gonna succeed. Like, I'm gonna not let this define me. So I mean, yeah, I mean, that's it for Larry Nassar, and also USA Gymnastics, fuck them, but especially Stephen Penny. But
fuck Stephen Penny, fuck USAG, fuck Larry Nassar, fuck the Carollis.
Tell us how you really feel, Andy.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, fuck them all.
No, that was it. Yeah, no, that was my victim
I
impact
covered it.
statement.
Yeah, for this.
That was fuck you guys for making me sit through this podcast
2 times, not let alone one.
I don't love the topic, but I love talking to you guys and having a good time. Hopefully, the next time I come on the show, we can just bullshit and
have a good
and
time.
have
We'll bring you on the normal one.
have a good time. But I always appreciate this, and I appreciate you guys for thinking of me for this. It's definitely stepping outside of, I want to say, my comfort zone, but like just shit that I'm used to. Like, I do a sports podcast. I don't usually talk about the
nitty-gritty disgusting shit that might happen,
true crime stuff. So I appreciate you guys for thinking of me, letting me step out of my comfort zone, do something new, and having me on for a 2-part episode. I think that's the first time I've ever done that on a podcast. I appreciate you. We are getting down to it though. We got 4 minutes to football, boys. So let's
yeah, we're getting there. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Like we said, this is like our experimental having a guest on Drunken Jurors, and this was just the Olympics was happening.
I will be your
the
guinea
perfect
pig.
thing.
Whatever you need, I'll be your experiment.
It just fell perfectly. It was like, this is like a topic that we can have. Like, we know someone who can come on. Like, this is something that would be up their alley. I'm sorry if it mentally fucks you up for a while, but
I'll probably never recover.
Yeah.
I was already fucked mentally before this, so it just added to the list.
Cool. So you can't pin it back on
exactly.
Us, so.
Yeah.
That's recorded, by the way. So if you ever come out saying, "Well, these guys fucked me up mentally," we can now play that as an
Adam. I'm gonna need you to fix it for me. Okay. Say something different.
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
Well, yeah. I mean, you two got anything you want to add to this before we get the fuck out?
No.
Yeah,
Michael Phelps. That's it.
I mean, yeah, sad story. Sucks, but justice was served to at least 2 of these people. So
justice was served. Well, I'd like to think it was, because those victims got to watch fucking Larry Nassar get locked up and get his debt.
And a judge saying shit that I don't think any judge has really ever said.
Yeah, for real.
At least while on TV.
There's some closure there. I'm sure not fully, because obviously you just wish it never ever happened. But yeah. But seriously, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you. Appreciate this.
Go ahead and plug yourself now.
I'll go ahead and plug myself again. If you like having a good time, if you like drinking beer, if you like
having a good time, not like what we just did.
Yeah, it's very different from this show. We don't talk about dark shit. If you like gambling picks, if you like interviews with athletes, bloggers, podcasters, fucking whatever. We've talked to musicians. We've talked to Twitch streamers. We've talked to you name it. We fucking talk to them. The Brew Party podcast is for you. I'd love to see you there. Find us on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube page, youtube.com/The Brew Party. We are wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google, Pandora, Amazon Music, Podbean, all that good stuff. Just search The Brew Party or go to www.thebrewparty.com. It's got links to all of our episodes, ways to listen to them, links to all of our social media, ways to support the show. We do have merch if you're interested. You can go to bonfire.com/brand-new-brew-party-merch. Just go to our twitter.com/The Brew Party. It's our pinned tweet link to that merch. I know that's a very long link. Thanks to the boys for having me. Check out the party next week. We have more Maloney's Moneyline, more gambling picks for college football and the NFL, and hopefully an interview that I do not have planned yet. So just check it out. Check it out. Check out the Brew Party.
I love it.
That sounds like us.
Join the party. We'd love to have you.
All right, and for us, if you go down into the description is our link tree. And then if you go to that, the top link is become a patron. So it will take you to our Podbean. At the top right of that is become a patron. Click on that. We have different tiers, 1, 3, 5, going all the way up. At the $1 level, you get the Taskmaster special, which Andy was on and blacked out like the rest of us.
But I should have won. If I would have taken my costume more seriously, I would have won. I did have the best fucking beach costume, though. And
that was wild.
And Adam saw my ass.
And a little more.
And a little more.
Yeah,
Tune in
Andy
for the
was
new
not bikini
Taskmaster
wax.
special. Maybe you'll see my dick. I'm just kidding. You won't.
Hopefully not.
You
Oh,
won't.
God.
That's on my
And then,
OnlyFans.
$3 tier, you can get the unedited.
At the $5 tier, you get the dick.
Also not on
$5.
if you go on there, you can look at all the tiers. It will specify.
And you
what's
can
on
look
there.
at my
None of them will be dicks.
dick.
None of them will have Andy's penis, I promise.
Maybe it will now, though.
Oh, fuck.
If we unleash a $100 a month tier,
Oh.
maybe.
Dick pics all around.
Dick pics. Dick pic season.
I might give you my feet.
Feet pics. Oh, I'm into that. I'm into that. All right, boys.
God.
I mean, on that note, Nick.
Professionals have
Michael
standards.
Phelps.
You don't
Professionals
have.
have-
You're not a
Michael
professional
Phelps.
or have standards. So what do you?
I actually had a line. Now it's just ruined because Adam's a prick.